A few weeks ago, my sister and I took a bunch of kids to the 9/11 memorial in New York City. On the lower level, there's a wall of squares in numerous shades of blue representing the 2,983 victims of both attacks on the World Trade Center. While Virgil's quote across the enormous body of work, quote, "No day shall erase you from the memory of time," end quote, is rated controversial by classicists, Spencer Fitch, the artist, was trying to capture the memorable color of the sky that day. I couldn't help but be thrown back into my grandmother's story in Cluj, now Romania, then Hungary, where she hid from mid-April of 1944 until October 10th of 1944. She said it was the most beautiful sky that summer, and she couldn't understand its vibrancy juxtaposed to her reality. A 19-year-old, separated from her family, hiding for her life in a foreign city. Much like what Spencer was trying to convey, the same incomprehensible contradiction on Tuesday morning, September 11th, 2001. Virgil's quote, according to the experts in Latin literature, say he was referring to the perpetrators of terrible deeds, not the victims. And somewhat of an understanding or compromise perhaps was reached for the memorial that the quote could represent both the victims of 9/11 and the murderous perpetrators will not be erased from the memory of time. This duality resonates strongly within Jewish tradition of remembering evil and memorializing the victims who they murdered for simply being Jews. On the one hand, it is a commandment in the Torah, the Bible, to remember the evil of Amalek, the representation of evil in the world, every day. And every day we say it multiple times. Amalek. Thou shalt remember this evil and obliterate and erase it from your midst. Simultaneously, Jewish tradition teaches us to remember our predecessors by actively engaging in our Judaism. Jessica. If there's one thing the Germans informed the Jewish people, is that Judaism is not an identity one can slip in and out of or run away from. They threw my Hasidic great-grandparents from northern Transylvania and their families into the same gas chambers as the cosmopolitan Jewish elite of Europe. They didn't distinguish, because we, the Jewish people, are indistinguishable. At our essence, at our core, we are one with the Pinteliad, the Jewish spark inside each of us, whether we feel it or we don't yet feel it, weird openly or not. My grandparents, yes, victims of the most heinous crime committed on humanity, said the answer is not to be less connected, i.e. less Jewish, but to be more and more and more. They doubled down on their commitment to their faith every day because they knew this is how they were going to eternalize their brothers, sisters, parents, grandparents, and the Jewish people going all the way back to Abraham and Sarah. To be the link between the past and the future is hard, but it is the critical task at hand. That today there are students on campus in this great country, the country that gave my grandparents and so many others the opportunity to seize the future, one where they could live to observe their faith publicly and with pride, only for young people to now be uncertain of that public expression, to fear consequences of alliances and free speech, to feel the need to hide what is essential to their being is unacceptable. But the answer is not to fear or doubt, or certainly not to hide, but to stand up straight with courage and the strength of conviction. We have thousands of years of truth and tradition on our side. We need to tap into our heritage, practice with purpose, do a mitzvah, a commandment, and then another, learn and teach, and most importantly, share with love and kindness.